I request Shri Rajiv Rao sir to address the gathering.
His Holiness Sriman Niranjan Jagadguru Pancham Shri Shivlingeshwar Mahaswami Ji, respected Chief Guest of today's function, Dr. Rangraj Manadurge sir, respected Principal, Dr. Kamte, beloved faculty members of HSIT, other dignitaries on and off the days, invitees, parents, my dear students, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to congratulate all the students who are graduating today. This is a culmination of all the efforts that you put in the last 4 years. All the toil and hard work has finally paid off. Today you have got the certificate that you are waiting for. However, I must caution you here. With every title comes the responsibility to live up to the expectations. Till yesterday, you were students and you were treated as such by your teachers and the world. But from today onwards, this moment onwards, you will be looked upon as professionals and shall be expected to behave in a responsible manner. Your opinion shall carry weight. People shall begin to take you seriously. So think before you talk. Here comes the main question. Now what? Many of you here have not chosen engineering as a career because you loved it. You have come to this stream because you got a seat in this college. Perhaps you would be as comfortable going to the medical line or the law had you got a seat there. During your PUC years, you had not really made up your mind. Because you got a seat in this college, you joined. Now again, after finishing the 8th semester and finishing this course, you have come to the same point. Now what? Whether to go for higher studies or to take up job. I know of many students who are forced to take up higher studies just because they don't get a job. That might not be the right way to do things, but that's how the matter stands. There are many people who choose higher studies only when they don't get a job. I urge you to stop for a while and take stock of situation and plan your life. Your parents have helped you so far while you are studying. I'm sure they are ready to help you while you struggle to get a job. But make no mistake about it, they will not be here forever. It is your responsibility to look after them. Grow up and grow up fast. This is your wake-up call. I'm telling you this because I have come to understand after studying society, meeting people, that nowadays parents don't counsel their children about their expected responsibilities, how they are going to fare in life. Many of your parents have struggled to go to college, earn a living, look after you. The reason they struggled was during their time, there were very few colleges and it was very difficult to get a seat because of the competition also. Due to all these stresses, our generation matured very fast. We began understanding the value of money and the value of education much earlier when compared to your generation. In fact, when I went to US to do my MS, I found that the Americans in general had a great amount of respect for Indian students and Chinese students. The main reason was there was this intrinsic maturity amongst us. That was because of the paucity. We had come up against a lot of struggle, against a lot of competition. We had come up in life after a lot of struggle and actually succeeded and had reached America. The American general people, the general Americans at that time I found were quite dumb. I don't say this as a joke. I say it with a lot of responsibility. The students who had come to study in the universities, who were doing their MS, who were doing their PhDs, were very, very smart. The reason they had reached university despite the fact that their parents were not supporting them in their education. The children had to study by themselves, earn a living, drop a semester and go back to studies the next semester. That struggle is what I'm talking about. That struggle brought in a lot of maturity in those students who had excelled. Whereas the general American population was not that brilliant. I would like to talk about an instance. I was told that there was a woman in America, general America, who was using her hair dryer while taking a shower. She experienced an electric shock and sued the hair dryer manufacturing company for compensation to the tune of many $billion. And to cap my surprise, she won the case. And she was awarded $1 million as compensation. Can you imagine that? She did not have the capacity to understand that electrical devices are not to be used while you are in water. The reason I am telling you this is because your generation has become a bit like the Americans. You have become more materialistic and have not developed the capacity or basic intelligence of your parents' generation. You need to be told everything explicitly. Intuition is missing. Your parents have given you all the facilities which sometimes they could ill afford. But you have come to regard all that as your birthright. You are quite comfortable in the fact that your father is strong and able-bodied today, and you are assuming that he is going to be like that forever. You must mature faster and realize that it is now your duty to take care of your parents and run your family. I was in Germany about a year back, and I found that German children were littering the streets almost like we Indians do. I found that Europe has become dirtier in the last 20 years since I went there first. Basically what I'm trying to say is that USA and Germany, Europe can afford this fall in grace, this degradation, after having reached their peak in economy and technology. Can we Indians afford this decline without having reached our peak? I urge you all to introspect and be prepared to work harder to take our country to its deserved glory. I'm not sure how many of you have got on-campus jobs. For those of you who have got on-campus recruitment, your responsibility is doubled. You have to perform well at the job for yourself and for the future generations of students who will pass out of HSI. You are the brand ambassadors of HSI. Your performance will determine how many students of HSIT get hired by the same company next year. Regardless of the fact whether you have got a job on campus or you work hard and get a job off campus, one piece of advice that I shall give you here is that you must try to stick to the job that you get, the first job, for at least a period of 2 years. This will give you double benefit. First, because you stick to one job and learn the job properly, hone your skills better, your knowledge will grow. And the second implied, advantage will be that your future employers, where you approach for your second job, will see your resume and find that you don't do the job hopping every now and then, and they will think that you are quite reliable. One more piece of advice is in order here. Please take up the first good offer that comes your way. Don't wait for the perfect job. There is nothing called perfect job. It is you who has to make your job perfect. Only 1% of the people in this world get to do what they love. The rest 99% have to love what they get. Job hunting is almost like bride or bridegroom hunting. The sooner you settle down in marriage, the better for you. If you act smart, decline offers which come your way in the early stages, it's quite likely that the offers will dry up. It's the same thing with jobs. If you don't take up the opportunities that come your way first and wait forever, it's quite likely that your prospective employers will think that there's something seriously wrong with you and not offer you employment afterwards. Do not compare your salary with your friends. There are sometimes claims made by friends that they got such and such a package. The company is paying them so much, they have got so many benefits and all that X, Y, Z. Please do not compare yourself with anyone. It's quite possible that your friends have got better grades due to which the company thinks that they deserve more. Or their communication skills may be so good that the employer thinks that there's a chance he's going to perform well. Or the worst part is that your friend may be simply lying. Always assess your own capabilities and decide for yourself what salary you are worth. You may start small but end up big. It's not necessary that if you get a small job in a small company, you are going to end up there forever. There's a saying, it's better to be the head of an ant than tail of an ox. In a small company, if you get a responsible position, please take it up. Because in a small company, you learn all the aspects of business which you are not going to learn in a corporate. In a corporate setup, you are discouraged from trying to learn other things. You are just confined to your job and nothing else. One field of study which could be interesting for all engineers is quality assurance. All sectors of engineering, be it mechanical, electrical, electronics or computers, require quality engineers. This field has got enormous potential. Actually, Dr. Vandurgai mentioned a lot from the philosophical side, and I am trying to give you the same thing with a more practical view. He said what is to be done, and I am trying to say how it is to be done. You need both. Now, this field of quality assurance has got enormous potential only because once you learn the tricks of the trade, you are in a position to give consultation to the companies and become a quality auditor in third-party inspection agencies. I don't believe you people are quite aware with the functioning and scope of work of third-party quality inspection agencies. I'll just enlighten you a little bit here. Let us say I have got an order from Saudi Arabia. The order runs into a couple of crores of rupees. In commercial terms, I would not like to take a risk of extending credit to the tune of 2 crores to a new customer. In the same way, the customer simply knows me by my website or he knows me through some references which I produced during the order negotiation process. They place the order and I ask for advance. And this guy, after studying whatever I have presented, decides to give me an advance. But to ensure safety and security of his money, and also to ensure that the quality is adhered to, the specifications are adhered to, he takes the help of third-party inspection agencies. Now these third-party inspection agencies employ a lot of engineers just like you people, but with maybe 5 to 10 years of experience in the relevant field. Now once the product that I manufacture, ball valves, get ready, I call this third-party agency to come and do the inspection of the goods. Now this third-party agency comes, sends an engineer who has relevant experience in valves, who comes to my company, does an inspection as per the specification that were laid out in the purchase order, and upon finding that the products comply with all the requirements of the purchase order, he releases the goods for shipment. Now my customer sitting in Saudi Arabia is quite satisfied because a neutral party, which is neither my employee nor his, neither my friend nor his, has assessed and evaluated the goods and found them to be in order. Now he releases the balance payment and I send the material to him. Now quality auditors who come as inspectors to my factory require that relevant experience in the relevant field. So engineers who have done the mechanical engineering, who have done the electronics engineering, who have done the software engineering, computer science, can very well apply for similar jobs. There are many banks and financial institutions who require the service of computer science graduates to test the software which is supplied by one of the Indian software manufacturers. You as computer science graduates can definitely evaluate the software, work on it and certify that it's good. That's when the foreign buyer can pay the money and take delivery of the software. I hope that most of you know about ISO 9001. If you don't know, it's basically a systems-oriented approach to quality management. If a company is exporting goods, nowadays it becomes mandatory that it should have an ISO 9001 certification. This certification assures the customer abroad that you are having some systems in place which will ensure that the quality of the goods manufactured by you is in order. Now they require, these inspection agencies require quality auditors there also. So if you have relevant experience in a quality assurance department of any company, you can very well apply for such a job and work there for quite some time. There are jobs like NDT, non-destructive testing, jobs like pipeline inspection, which are in demand in Saudi Arabia and the Middle Eastern countries, where they have a lot of, say, crores of kilometers of pipeline, and they require welding inspection and pipeline layout inspection. Most of the engineers here, if you are interested in quality assurance, you can get a very reliable job. Of course, one of the most important requirements would be your ability to communicate in English. If you are not particularly good in speaking or writing English, I suggest that you join an English speaking course and learn the language well. This is one of the most important differentiating factors when it comes to offering a job to two almost equal candidates. Because technically you may be very sound, but if you are not able to convey your idea across to the interviewer, just because you don't know the language well, you might not be able to get that job. Do not feel ashamed to join a class to learn English. English is not our mother tongue, but we need to know it to work with the world. Students who are lucky to attend English medium schools learn it earlier, but those who have come from vernacular medium backgrounds can learn it later. There is absolutely no shame in attending a school or a course to learn English, and there is absolutely no excuse for not knowing English as engineering graduates. Mark my words, if you neglect this one requirement now, you will most definitely regret it later. One more aspect of working that you will come face to face with when you get a job is the living conditions. If you have not been away from home while doing your engineering, it's quite likely that you will feel homesick after joining a new job. It is just a passing phase, hardly 3 months down the line and you will be okay. But people who have quit during these 3 months never get the courage to take up a job later. You may not get the food as per your choice, especially if you get a job outside Karnataka or outside India. Should these small things be a reason to quit? Most certainly not. The most important thing that is working in your favor at this age is flexibility. At this age, if you make the effort, you can adjust. You can adjust to any kind of food, any kind of living conditions. You can learn from others. You can see if someone else can survive, eat and survive on some kind of food, you too can. Of course, if it doesn't go against your religious beliefs. Fussiness in your attitude will get you nowhere. Your attitude will always determine your altitude. If you are interested in starting your own business immediately after college, you may face some challenges because you may not know how to start. There are many government schemes like Startup India, Mudra, where you could get finance and relevant assistance. Please contact the proper government agency and take that help. One thing I must tell you here is that the formalities required will be quite cumbersome. It's not going to be a cakewalk, and it is not supposed to be a cakewalk also. You will have to stick to it, you will have to take help from people, you have to cooperate with others if you need to reach your goal. Complete the formalities and wait for the results. I did not want to bore you with a long speech with a lot of advice. Yet, I felt duty bound to address some of the issues which you are going to face in the real world. Go forth boldly and do not look back. Look back only at the end of your career to evaluate whatever you have achieved, what you have achieved. Work for satisfaction. Work to achieve excellence. Work with a single-minded devotion. Money will definitely follow you if you don't follow it. Today is your day. Celebrate it. Cherish it. Recall all the fond memories with your friends and teachers. Maintain good relations with your friends who you may not meet again ever or meet very rarely. My best wishes to all of you when you embark upon a new journey in life called real life. Best wishes and God bless. Thank you.